What is up, my dudes? We are back again with another video, and today we've got something different to talk about. Today, we are going to have a look at the Hall of Fame career of Tony Gwynn. This is a new series called MLB Storytime that I plan on continuing and making into a running series on the channel. If you guys enjoy, please make sure to let me know by liking this video. Subscribe if you are new. Let's go back to May 9th, 1960. In Los Angeles, California, one of the greatest hitters of all time was born, Tony Gwynn. Mr. Padre attended San Diego State University on a basketball scholarship. Yes, you heard that right, where he set a school record for assists as the team's point guard. He obviously was also amazing at baseball, but was drafted by the San Diego Clippers, who were later known as the Los Angeles Clippers. Wait a minute, Tony Gwynn, a baseball Hall of Famer, also could have played basketball professionally. Yep, Tony Gwynn did it all. In 1981, he was drafted by the San Diego Padres, so apparently San Diego really loved this dude, and obviously he chose the Padres. Tony Gwynn, during the 1982 season, was called up to play in his first major league game. He went 2 for 4 with 1 RBI and went on to appear in 53 more games in 1982 after his July call-up. He had 209 plate appearances and batted .289 on that season. Amazingly, this rookie year would be the only year, it was a partial year, of his career that he didn't bat .300. Gwynn was also a part-time player in 1983, hitting .309 in 86 games. 1984, though, was Tony Gwynn's year to remember. He made his first All-Star team in 1984 and went on to win his first batting title that same year with a, get ready for it, .351 batting average. How many guys can do that in today's game? Well, the answer, just looking at 2019, is 0. The batting title for the 2019 season went to Tim Anderson, shortstop of the Chicago White Sox. He hit .335. How many plate appearances did Tim Anderson have during his batting title season? 518. How about Tony Gwynn? 675. 157 more plate appearances, and he managed to hit 16 points higher than the best contact hitter for the year. Let's go back and take a look at the last 10 years. Maybe 2019 was a fluke that no one hit .350 plus. There were a lot of close calls over the last decade. DJ LeMahieu in 2016 had a .348 average, and Miguel Cabrera the same average during the 2013 season. But the only player in the last decade with a .350 plus average is Josh Hamilton back in 2010. He had 571 plate appearances compared to 675 that Tony Gwynn had. Tony Gwynn is in a league of his own, and we're just getting started. Tony Gwynn, during his .351 average year, had 213 hits. Anytime that you have over 200 hits, you are at an elite level for racking up hits. Not only did he do it at the plate, he did it on the bases too. He had 33 stolen bases that year. That same year, 1984, Tony Gwynn's season continued into October baseball. The Padres faced off against the Chicago Cubs in the NLCS, and Gwynn continued to hit. He batted .368, scoring 6 runs and driving in 3 as the Padres overcame a 2-0 deficit to win the final 3 games of the 5-game series. It wasn't until 1992 that the NLCS was made into 7 games. Unfortunately for the Padres, their season came to an end as they had to play the AL monster in the Detroit Tigers. The Padres were no match for them. The Tigers that year had opened the season going 35-5. The Padres lost the World Series in 5 games. Gwynn still hit pretty well in the World Series, hitting .263 with 5 hits and 1 run scored. 1984 was a big year for Tony Gwynn, but would he continue it? Oh, did he ever. 1985, he hit .317 with 197 hits and 90 runs scored. 1986, he hit .329 with a league-leading 211 hits and 107 runs. He won his first of 5 Gold Glove awards that same year. In 1987, however, he really outdid himself, posting a .370 mark to win his second batting title in 1987. He was first place by a wide margin, beating Pedro Guerrero by 32 points as he hit .338. He also led the league with 218 hits, 119 runs, and a career-high 59 stolen bases. It was his first of 3 consecutive batting titles. In 1988, he won with a .313 average, and during the season he picked up his 1,000th career hit against none other than Nolan Ryan on April 22nd in Houston. He followed up this season with a .336 average in 1989, also leading the NL with 203 hits. Tony Gwynn was a student of the game, just like many are in today's game. But what set Tony Gwynn apart from the rest was how he watched video of himself and of opposing pitchers during games. He was one of the first players to do that. He was known to take multiple VCRs on the road trips, taping the game on one and taping his at-bats on the other, then studying them in his hotel room afterwards. After 3 consecutive batting titles, Gwynn somehow didn't win for another 4 years. He averaged a .324 average from 1990 to 1993. So it's very stunning that he did not win one batting title during that .324 stretch. In the 1993 season, he collected his 2,000th career hit on August 6th against Colorado's Bruce Ruffin. Then came 1994. 1994 was special for a couple of reasons. This was the year that the Major League Baseball season ended prematurely because of the MLB Players Union striking. On Baseball Reference, they have a page devoted to this infamous 1994 strike, and they describe it as, quote, the supposed out-of-control rise in salaries that was threatening the financial survival of many teams, or so the owners argued. The strike left bitter feelings all around and did not resolve the underlying problems. However, the damage caused by the stoppage was recognized by everyone, and as a result, when the next showdown came, in mid-2002, the two parties proved to be ready to make concessions in order to avoid a similar outcome, leading to an extended era of labor peace and growth of revenues and salaries. The other reason that this season was made special was because of Tony Gwynn. More specifically, how he was having his best season yet in terms of batting average. He hit .394 that year. A .400 average would have been the first time anyone had reached that mark since Ted Williams. Tony had 165 hits in 110 games. A ridiculous pace, as you can imagine. Had he kept that pace going, he would have had 248 hits, which would have put him in the top 10 all-time for hits in one season. After a disappointing end to Tony's historic season, he was heard saying, "When you go through it in a strike year and they finally pulled the plug on the season, you get kicked to the curb like everyone else. I'd be lying if I didn't say I wanted to make a crack at .400. 1995 was the year Cal Ripken became the Iron Man, and it was also the year that Tony Gwynn continued to put on a show. From 1995 to 1997, his averages looked like this: .368, .353, .372. At age 37, he hit .372. And this was when his performance started to, quote, slip. That is for Tony Gwynn. He still never hit below .300 for a season for the next 4 partial and close to whole seasons. He was an honorary All-Star in 2001, though he was an official member of the team. During the 1998 season, in 508 plate appearances, Tony Gwynn hit .321 and finished 15th in the MVP voting. Not bad for a 38-year-old. This same year, the Padres were in the World Series. Tony Gwynn played in both of the Padres' World Series appearances since their franchise was created. Unfortunately, once again, they had their season ended by a World Series loss, as the 1998 New York Yankees had no trouble sweeping the Padres in the series. Except there was one positive about the series for the Padres. Tony Gwynn continued to rake. He batted .500 for the series with 8 hits and 16 at-bats. Absolute insanity for a 38-year-old dude. On August 6, 1999, Tony Gwynn got his 3,000th hit, a first-inning single off Dan Smith of the Montreal Expos. Gwynn played in just 36 games in 2000 and 71 the following year because of several injuries. But while his career may not have ended exactly how he wanted, Tony Gwynn put up some of the most insane career stats of any MLB player ever to play the game. After retirement, Gwynn continued to come through in the clutch. Tony became the head baseball coach for San Diego State, taking over during the 2002 season. He was named Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year in his second season after leading the Aztecs to the league's regular season title in 2004. Gwynn continued his devotion to community service as he and his wife established the Tony Gwynn Foundation to help fund many worthy organizations supporting children in need. For 14 years, he hosted the Celebrity Golf Classic to raise money for the foundation. It was while coaching at San Diego State that health problems began piling up. The biggest issue was chewing tobacco, which he used for his entire career. He was able to quit, but at that point, it was too late. After he had 2 benign tumors removed, the third one turned out to be cancerous. Gwynn underwent radiation and chemotherapy for months for salivary gland cancer. After years of treatment, he passed away on June 16, 2014, at the age of only 54. While Tony is no longer around, we can still remember the impact he had on the game. Before we wrap up this video, let's go over his career statistics. He was a career .338 hitter, 3,141 hits, a 69.2 WAR, a Hall of Fame induction in 2007, 15-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove, 7-time Silver Slugger, 8-time batting title. He is tied with Honus Wagner for second most batting titles. Ty Cobb is the leader. What is so impressive about this is the fact that Tony Gwynn won the batting title as much as he did in a more modern era. And last but not least, he never hit below 309 in a full season. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe for more baseball content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.